Hi everyone. In this video, I will be discussing bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder generally described as cycling between highs and lows, a manic state and a depressive state. There are variations such as type 1 and type 2 bipolar. Type 1 is when the person has manic episodes that may significantly impair their abilities, usually to the point of psychosis. Type 2 is when the person has hypomanic episodes that are similar to mania, but are usually less severe and don't include psychosis. These can also be rapid cycling and can occur much more frequently, like within the same day. I can relate to bipolar type 1 since I have had psychotic episodes related to my mood. My cycle pretty much consists of depression for 4 weeks, followed by mania for 6 weeks, then a normal state that varies in duration. As far as I remember, I've always had mood problems, but it got a lot more severe after being on estrogen. So for me, hormones definitely played a big role in my mood. And it can be very difficult to control at times. So I'm going to go over some of the symptoms of bipolar and how it affects my life. So let's start with depression. One symptom is low energy. I would have very low energy, sometimes not being able to get out of bed. I can either oversleep or have insomnia, just overall not being able to do much without feeling completely exhausted. The next symptom is lack of interest. I lose all interest in almost everything I enjoyed before, including eating, and though I would still force myself a lot of times. I try to do the things that used to make me happy, but sometimes it is so difficult to function. The next symptom is loneliness, worthlessness, hopelessness, guilt, low self-esteem, those sorts of things. I'd feel so worthless and helpless, like nothing would ever get better. I become so anxious and secluded from everyone. I can't even go out and be seen in public. It becomes very difficult to concentrate and focus on tasks, and it's no matter how much I try and talk myself up, I just can't be happy because I feel as though there's nothing to be happy about. And the last symptom here is self-harm and suicidal thoughts and feelings. It can get so serious as to causing self-harm or even suicidal thoughts and behavior. I will make a separate video dedicated to this since it is a very serious topic, but I will say now that this has been an issue for me. Now, the thing that helps me is forcing myself to do at least something for the day. Because when I don't do anything at all, I end up feeling even worse since I dislike laziness. But if I get something done, then I generally don't feel worse. I may not necessarily feel better, but I'm not going to slip into an even worse depression. So after the depressive state comes the manic state. The shift for me is almost instantaneous. One day I'll be depressed, and then the next my mood will go up dramatically. Especially the first week. It's really crazy. The first symptom is increased energy. I would have an enormous amount of energy. I'm so hyper, running around the house, practically jumping off the walls, doing my tasks so quickly and always rushing around. I can go with very little sleep, and it's actually quite difficult sometimes to fall asleep. I feel as though I can accomplish anything, and I end up taking on more tasks than I can handle, which causes me a lot of frustration and anxiety. I can also be very annoying, so much that I've even driven people out of the house, which is not a good thing. The next symptom is racing thoughts and excess talk. Yes, this very much applies to me. my thoughts become so rapid and out of control, just 100 different things going on in my head at once. My speech becomes so fast that many people have a very difficult time understanding what I'm saying. And when they do, it can be usually some off-the-wall thing that I made up on the spot. And later, I would have no idea what it meant at all. And the next symptom is impulsiveness. And this can include damaging things such as risky sexual behavior and drug and alcohol abuse. I personally don't do these things at all. Though I do generally have a higher sex drive during my manic phase. But I still do have impulsive decision making that I would normally reconsider if I actually gave it some thought. One of my unusual impulsive behaviors I've recognized is when communicating with people. I end up saying too much about myself. This is especially evident with online messages. I've had several episodes where I've sent these completely ridiculous messages to people that at the time I'm doing it, the consequences don't even cross my mind. I'm not even, in the present moment really thinking of what the consequences of my action would be. And it's just the next day, usually when I kind of lower down, I read back the message and it makes no sense. And I end up feeling so guilty and embarrassed by what I did. And I've certainly scared off a few people by doing this. And it's not intentional by any means. It's just a very bad impulse that I have. I try to calm myself down, and it can be very difficult, especially within the first week after switching to the manic phase. That's when I just have an extreme amount of energy. After that, I'm not as hyper, but it's still very much so. Lastly, for me, after the manic phase comes what I call the normal phase. This is when I am pretty much stable and there's no severe depression or mania. Things are just even and normal. There's nothing much to really talk about here, but it is kind of boring, actually. I like the manic state so much more, besides the rash decision-making and impulsiveness, of course, but I just feel as though I can accomplish more during my manic phase than, of course, the depressive state and even the normal state as well. Now, some days there will be outliers. So, for example, during my depressed state, I may have a day that I am happy. Or time that I am in a very elevated mood, I'll have days when I am depressed. But usually my mood will return to whatever it was the following day. It's more of an overall emotion for the time frame. Though my mood has switched so many times in one day before, and sometimes it is very, very difficult to control, especially when it just rapidly switches so much for no reason whatsoever. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it was informative. Thanks for watching.